Todd, how are you?
I'm well, Paul.
Figured-
Just looking at the list of everyone's coming in. You're so festive today.
I figured I had to. I might change hats later on. I do have almost a different hat for every day of the week when it comes to the holidays. So yeah,
That's fun. Well, hello, everyone.
go for a little more sportier view.
Yes.
Got to get the antlers.
Everyone will begin in just a few minutes. Going to wait for a few more people to show up, but I think we've got quite a few people joining already. So happy to see you guys. Paula, about how many skateboards would you say you have hanging on the wall back there?
I say probably about, well, there's some more over here in the corner that are hard to see. It's actually like a Transformer fight scene across 8 different ones. I probably have about 40, and I have another 30 that actually need to go sell on eBay. So I'll be working on that through the next 2 weeks for the holiday season.
Great. Fun.
Along with numerous Legos that are in the closet and over here. So yeah, getting stuff prepped up already.
Fun. All right, just a couple more minutes, everybody. We'll just give everybody just like 2-3 more minutes, and we will get started.
Well, it's kind of weird when I try to shake my neck muscles.
See a few names I know in this list, so welcome everyone. We'll get started in just one more minute. Thanks for joining. Just a quick note about the presentation. I'm going to speak for a little while first, turn the time over to Paul. He's going to talk for a little while, and then we're going to do a Q&A. We'll answer your questions live. We'll try to get to all of your questions. I do want to say, don't hold back during the presentation. We have 2 other people here today that are helping us. We have Ariel, we have Allison, Paul, maybe one more, I'm not sure, from your team, but we've got people here that are ready to answer questions as we're talking. So if there's any questions that you want to ask and you want to get an answer from a well-qualified person here at eBay, please go ahead and just throw that question right in the chat. So love to hear from all of you. And there's some confetti there.
All right, Todd, as you get started, I'm going to bounce out, and I will, I'm just going to go off camera, and I will catch you just towards the tail end.
All right, great. Thanks, Paul. All right, well, it's time to get started. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Excited to talk to you guys a little bit about home interior. And as I said, I'm going to turn the time over to Paul Friday in just a few minutes to talk about electronics. But I think we're going to really kind of focus as much as we can on holiday season, talk about a few other things related to our categories. But let's move into our agenda. Of course, home interior news and updates, electronics news and updates, and then we'll get into our live Q&A. And I am Todd Elledge. I'm a senior category manager for home interior eBay. I always tell people I've been an eBay employee for about 10 years now, coming up on 11, but I've been an eBay seller for 20 years. And I just love this platform, love working here, and I love talking to sellers and answering your questions and just really talking about our experiences on eBay and experiences as eBay sellers. But what we're going to do is talk a little bit about home interior today, not in this order, actually, category updates and trends, best practices to drive success in your home business, holiday 2023 preparations, and key takeaways. But as I said, holiday's a big deal right now here at eBay. It's pretty much all we think about this time of year. So we're really focused on holiday preparation and helping you guys just put your best foot forward and bring your best merchandise out to eBay. So holiday 2023 really consists of three main sort of time segments that you might say. Holiday Ready Home, which is what we're into right now, Black Friday and Cyber Week, and peak gifting. Holiday Ready Home is that time of year where people are decorating their homes and they're getting ready to entertain. So right now, what's selling in home interior from October all the way through Black Friday are a lot of seasonal decor items, drink and barware, tableware, cookware, and bakeware, and really just anything to get your home ready for visitors and the holidays. Coming up after Thanksgiving, of course, is Black Friday and Cyber Week. And that's kind of a mix, right? We have a little bit of gifting in there and a lot of the seasonal decor items and hosting that I just talked about. And then we have peak gifting. That's when really things shift into just really dedicated work towards, gifting items. A lot of times in home interior, we're talking about sheets and throws, cookware and bakeware, knife sets and drinkware and barware. I even gave my daughter a set of towels for Christmas last year, college age kid, and something like that's always really appreciated. And let's talk about home interior categories and updates and trends. Our focus areas right now in home and garden are home interior. So when I talk about home interior, I'm talking about furniture, lighting and bedding, mattresses, rugs, bath, kitchen, dining and bar, home accents, and window. So this is a really big focus for us right now. It's not technically a category. It's actually subcategories of home and garden. But we've really decided to focus on these because we just see a lot of growth opportunity. And there's a lot of opportunity for sellers to get into these categories, to break into them. Some facts about home interior are that last year, 6.8 million items in home decor sold in 2022. 3,200 furniture pieces sold every day. And our average sale price in cookware was $78. And besides that, 1,800 kitchen items sold every hour on eBay last year. So you can see that it's a category with lots of opportunity and a lot of velocity for sellers. In home interior, kitchen furniture and home decor lead the way in sales. You can clearly see that kitchen, dining, and bar is the largest category, followed by furniture. Kitchen, dining, and bar takes up about 34%. So we know that's a huge category. And home decor actually does really well. What's not represented here is seasonal decor. Seasonal decor is an amazing category on eBay. And it just is really popular around this time of year, actually starting with Halloween, harvest, and then moving through Christmas. So lots of opportunity there as well. In furniture, sales are driven by bedroom and living room, and that includes mattresses. It's not something that people, I think, always think of as their first bet on eBay, but we do have a really strong mattress business and definitely encourage you to check that out. In bedding, sales are driven by sheets, basic bedding, and blankets and comforters as well. So this is a really diverse category. You can see that it's not too centralized. Like there's a lot of different opportunities for sellers in there, starting with sheets, blankets, throws, and duvet covers. And a kitchen, dining, and bar, when we get really specific about it, it's flatware and cutlery, kitchen storage and organization, kitchen tools and gadgets, and dinnerware that drive most of our sales. In lighting and rugs, you can clearly see that area rugs is a massive category for us. It takes up 72% of all of rugs. So area rugs are huge on eBay. And then again, lighting is a pretty diverse category, pretty much spread out, but again, a strong category for us. And then home decor, sales are driven by fragrance and candles and posters and signs. Again, not represented here are seasonal categories, which also do exceptionally well, but not included in this graph that you see here. So what do we want to look at when we look at buyer demand? What do buyers want? So we look at top keyword searches. And some of this is available to you in the TerraPeak tool available in your Seller Hub. But these are the terms that people are looking for. And top searches are related to brands and subcategory keywords. So brands like Pottery Barn, Pioneer Woman you see on here, Nora Fleming, things like that. And then keywords like knife sharpener, LED lights, so on and so forth, really descriptive terms. I think the key takeaway here is that when you're creating your title for your listing, it's really important to use the brand. Obviously, most people do that, but also just highly descriptive keywords, things that you would be able to describe differently about different items in a complete sentence. I think that's a good takeaway for these keyword searches. And in furniture, these are the items that you see sell pretty well. Patio furniture does great on eBay. Bar stool sets, Herman Miller chairs like the one I'm sitting in right now. I bought it on eBay for a great deal. ASP is $540. Is pretty good. So those are always a good option for that. Mattresses and bedding I mentioned. Hotel collection sheets, sort of the mid-range sheets. We do occasionally have distressed mattresses or open box mattresses that do well. Hard to get sometimes, but we love those. And then in kitchen, dining, and bar sets, right? Sets are really what makes a good value package for eBay buyers. So if there's any opportunity for selling sets on eBay, they'll do well for sure. Stanley, huge on eBay right now. If you can get a hold of those, that's going to be great for you. So home decor, lighting, and rugs. We have these Joe Malo candle, Hunter fans, and area rugs, as I mentioned before, all strong sellers. Just very quickly as I wrap this up, we'll talk about some best practices. I know that you can see a lot of these best practices talks when you talk to people from eBay, but I think at home, we're a little bit unique and that we really want to bring forward a quality and unique selection. So that's the most important thing I would ask. A lot of people do ask me in these events, what should I source? What should I sell on eBay? And really a lot of times quality and unique selection is really what we're looking for. And use promoted listings. You'll hear that from a lot of people. There are a lot of best practices about it. You don't want to overspend in something like this. You want to make it, you want to make the right price, but promoted listings does help your item stand out. And it's a cost per sale model, right? You don't pay unless you sell something. Create listings that buyers will love. Just use descriptive titles. Use as many photos as you think you need to sell the item, and put a good description in the item so people know what they're getting, and that will help you reduce returns. And then use promotional discounts, all available in your Seller Hub. Take a look when you can, and I think that's a good place to get started. So now I'm going to turn this time over to Paul, and we can talk a little bit about electronics.
All right. Well, Top Hat Thursday, so figured I'd get a little festive with the top hat on. It seems that has to be the favor more than anything else. I'm Paul Friday. I am new to eBay, not new to the industry electronics. Been around for 20 plus years. I won't take myself too bad because I'm looking pretty young here. But been new to eBay since July, and happy to be here. Ariel Flores is on as well from our CE team to help out. And thanks, Todd, for that home introduction. And Todd will be driving the slide, so you will hear next from me quite a bit. So we'll head up next. We'll do a quick overview as well. We'll talk about some category updates. There's a lot of things in electronics, from TVs to audio to VR, virtual reality, to phones and iPads and so on and so forth. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on there and those items and their trends that are expected for the holiday timeframe as well. And certain product updates too, such as key term words, different brands and things like that. All right, holiday and product updates. We'll hit up first. The last holiday, electronics was the second most shopped category across eBay. We do have a lot of stuff, and then we all know that electronics usually is a big holiday time frame. That also does include our video game product as well. This year, we're expecting computers, TVs, digital cameras, not the little small ones, but those big ones with the lenses, and pro audio product to be top of the list. Pro audio can be anything from a high-end home audio to actually even DJ equipment, and karaoke boxes have been really popular and gaining so far this year. So within that, talk about a couple of wins. So how do you win? Well, listing quality report is really, really important. That can really help boost the reviews, your impressions, and of course, conversions for your sales. You can find underneath your Seller Hub in order to go through it. And it's really important to keep an eye on that. pricing is always key, right? That old phrase of not a bad item, just a bad price. Pricing is super important. And we know that eBay customers love pricing, and deal pricing is very well driven. So getting to know where your prices are, getting your holiday price changes loaded in on time, in those situations to come early, be ready, hit those key dates, Thanksgiving Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the Green Monday date as well, which is the 2nd of December. So those key holiday campaign type stuff, very, very important. I'm sorry, December 4th, not the 2nd. So super important around that, and getting those scheduled, make sure that the schedulers are running or dropping the prices early, and trying to be ahead of the curve, super important. Lastly is data. Having a pulse on your business to be able to spot trends, keep an eye on everything that's going on from shipping to make sure your labels are being uploaded on time if it's not you, but it's a third party or somebody else, as well as also make sure that, of course, tracking and shipments are leaving on time as well. If you have a lot of carriers or if you're trusting someone else to drop off the boxes, make sure that is all flowing. Super important to keep your score very high and running within eBay. We'll hit up next. Category updates. We'll hit you with a fun fact. Fun fact, did you know that you'll see it on the slide now. So $20 to $100 is the fastest growing range in electronics. That is going to be a lot of accessory-based products, right? It could be anything like you see here, from headphones, maybe some certified refurbished smartwatches, but typically those might be a little higher. Portable speakers, you see the Sonos there. Currently it's $119 and certified refurb. So pretty close to that price range. Tablets and many other portable type style products as well. So very important within that when you look at pricing and hitting the right spots at the right times. Well, 69% of electronics sold earlier this year were all at fixed prices for my sellers on eBay. So it's kind of not the eBay of old, where it's auction in 7 days, 5 days, 3 days. It is fix now, buy it now, and or offer price. I know there's a lot of questions about offer price earlier in the chat. We'll go next. So within that, 7 of the top 10 searches on eBay are electronics-based or electronics-related for electronics-based products. That includes top terms such as we see here in 2023, so smartwatches, digital cameras, pro audio equipment, cameras and drones, 3D printers and supplies. I know you thought 3D printers, that sounded so like 10 years ago. Prices have come down. The filament and accessory prices are down. So very, very important. And we're seeing a lot of kids and teenagers really get into making their own products or duplicating Lego bricks and pieces and stuff like that. So really great for especially in that learning section. Buyers can need to look forward to already stretching their dollars. So just happening there. Clean photos, great web of best pricing, and clear descriptions help close with the customers to get that conversion. All right, category trends. Key items here, of course, there's a lot of iPhones and iPads that you'll see. Some of the gaming products picking up last year versus this year based upon scarcity. PS5s pretty much available at most retail stores now. Last holiday, it wasn't. Apple products continue to be popular. In some cases, it's just the next model up. 13s to 14s, 12, 11s. You don't see 10s on this list, so on and so forth. But knowing key top search terms and products that customers are striving for around that as well. Nintendo Switch, pretty popular this year around as well. And gaming bundles are always key during the holiday timeframe within that. Next. Emerging categories, we're seeing a growth in virtual reality really the last couple of years. Not surprising, really, as content, apps, the games, even virtual store options kind of somewhat become available. So a little bit of softness and some of that creativity from some of the big companies. But really, at the end of the day, the hardware is still out there. Meta's coming out with a new headset already. You're seeing the gaming folks and many others join in. So that will continue to grow for us in those areas, as well as our key categories like headphones and computers and TVs, as we talked about. 1/3 of the GMV in electronics does come from pre-owned or refurbished products. So we're really sustainability working to keep those products out of landfills, make sure that they're properly being reused and offer a value to the customers within those. Next. So eBay newsletter, as we go next. One more. If you're not using it now, definitely take a look at it. Really important, a great way to reach your followers. Oh, one ahead, but that's all right. Let them know about promotions and campaigns, maybe new items that you're launching in your stores. Let them know about closeout deals, end of life type of product, like while supplies last. things like that. It is free for the subscribers that follow your store. I think you can drop an email about every 2 to 3 weeks. And just looked that up earlier. So it's not something you can hit like on a Thanksgiving Day and come back on Black Friday. Not so you do have that time frame of when you can send it out. So pre-planning that out and what is in that newsletter in advance and picking the right days to make sure they get that. I was just on a call earlier with a top brand in home audio, and they were talking about sending out Friday morning. And we're like, yeah, so is everybody else going to be sending that out? So maybe send it Thursday, like in the middle of the day during a football game where you might capture the audience a little bit different, who's probably maybe looking for a better audio to go with their TV. So being selective and trying to really think of being that customer of when you're going to want to see those emails is probably the right time to send that out as a feature. All right, next. So we'll open up the Q&A. Thanks for taking our time. Thanks for being here as well. We do have some assistants in the chat to help out, and look forward to some of those Q&As. I'll kind of jump in earlier that came up, one about getting electronics from Patricia. So there is a few of the electronics distributors. I will admit, some of them also have marketplace stores on eBay and other places, but it's a great place to start. Petra, who's actually based over in Oklahoma. They do a lot of electronics, accessories and items, CB radios, car stereos. They don't do the big stuff like TVs and other stuff, but they do have a lot of smaller accessory type products as well. Ingram Micro and D&H are kind of your big electronic distributors. They'll carry a little of everything practically around that. So it does get nimble within that. And most of that is going to be new. There might be some certified refurb from that they might have from a brand or two, but that's kind of a great way to start when looking around within that.
Yeah, that's awesome, Paul. Very cool. I get that question a lot. I mean, I think that's one of the main questions that I get asked whenever I go to a seller event or, conventions, or maybe just like run into somebody, and they're saying like, well, I'd love to start selling on eBay. Like, where do I get this stuff from? Like, where does it come from? And I think initially, a lot of people start in the used category. This is also true in home interior. They will sort of maybe start shopping, at Goodwill. We heard earlier, if you saw one of the sessions with Adam Ireland, talking to a seller about starting, from the Salvation Army store. What a great story. I mean, what a great, cool success story that she had. And I think that's where a lot of people start. But there are many places, if you start researching different categories and just go to Google and use Google as your friend and talk about maybe buying used things from companies like you just said, or you can actually attend, in the home interior business, you can attend what we call market weeks. So you can search for different market weeks where they sell home decor, where they sell, lots of things that you would just buy new, just as if you were, a business from wholesalers. There's many places, and I think starting on those searches is a really good way to sort of kick that off, and get started as a seller.
Phoenix, we actually see a lot of people that sell a lot of the Amazon pallets. If you don't know what's in it, you pay the money, you get a pallet, and you debox it and break it down, right? So I do see a lot. Didn't see that in the Bay Area before I moved a couple of years ago, but I do see a lot of that within Phoenix and see that on marketplaces or Craigslist or stores just advertising. We have several stores that actually sell that product. They have physical locations here within the Phoenix area that do that. So it is kind of interesting as you don't know what you get. Don't know the quality as well. But some of that does exist too as well, from liquidations from the Walmarts, the big folks, the Lowe's, the Home Depots, and Amazon and others.
Yeah, love it. Valerie's asking, and this is a great question. Do you recommend always doing free ship or never? I've heard both from resellers. Well, eBay is going to always recommend free shipping. And let's face it, we all know shipping isn't free, right? Someone has to pay for it. And it's you as the seller or me as the seller. It's one of those things that we are going to recommend free shipping. It just makes it that much simpler for the buyer to understand how much they're paying. And I'll be quite honest with you. This actually happened to me yesterday. Searching for something on eBay, I found what I wanted. I added it to my cart, and I realized it was $18 more than the price that showed. And of course, that $18 was shipping. Now I understand that's probably how much it really costs to ship it. It was something that comes in a box. But I think making that calculation just easier for buyers is something that we really do recommend. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Paul, but that's where I would go.
I would say, I think the carriers are important. Like when I go ship a skateboard, FedEx and UPS is almost double the price as USPS because it's just 1 inch longer than what their average size is. So therefore, then becomes a little bit lot more pricier because of that. So definitely looking at what can offer. eBay offers a lot, and then seeing what those fees are, and of course knowing the box that you're going to put it in. I usually don't pre-pack everything, but I kind of know the box and I have it set up next to it. And that way, then I know what that shipping dimensions are going to be and kind of what that price is. Free is always great though. Just add it to the price if possible, because it really makes it a no-brainer for the customer.
Yeah, good. And another question. This one's from Tony. Tony asks, "I'd love a tutorial on how the newsletter works." I'd actually like that too. Paul, are you aware of any resources? I mean, we need to find that. We should find this out for Tony if we don't know.
What was it resources for?
For the tutorial on how the newsletter works, the seller newsletter.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe if Ariel could jump in on chat, or maybe she might know. I'm not sure around it. I haven't personally used it as well, but I can take that on and see what we can find out.
Yeah, that's great. Let's track that down for Tony, because I think it's a great new tool. Another tool that I'm going to make a suggestion that we all start using more is offers to watchers. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically a way you can go into the seller hub and send a message to everyone who's currently watching one of your items, and basically make an offer to them, maybe to buy it for a little bit less money, or you can throw in a discount or something along those lines. That really helps convert a sale. I know some sellers, like medium-sized sellers in home interior, that have done very, very well using that. So going to recommend that as another tool as well. Let's see. Gonna look through here. See anything?
You're getting more cat updates than I am. I only see the 3 of mine, so maybe I'm a little lost.
Oh, that's right. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Paul, for posting that. There's a little bit of a debate about the free shipping thing. I get it. Like, it's some categories it's a little less common than others. I see in fashion, especially where there's auctions, right? I think if I ran auctions, just to kind of make a correction, I think I probably would put a shipping cost in there for sure. I mean, that's otherwise, you're going to get burned on that. I would probably say, but
I would also say competitively, right? If you're selling something that someone else has that might be new, what are they offering around that in competitive action? Other people that might be selling something similar. Obviously, when it comes to stuff that's not in a package and or open, then that can change and do an auction style. In that case, then you can charge for shipping. So I think it does depend, but competitively is probably taking a quick landscape look of, is somebody selling something similar, so you can make sure it's priced right. And then number 2, what are shipping options they're offering? And that way you can look at that total cost in, so you know how competitive you're going to be.
Yeah, I like it. Someone else asked, does it hurt your store to have 400 listings with 0 quantity out of 1,400 listings? The answer to that question is no, it does not hurt your store. So it won't impact you in search in any way. It doesn't do anything negative towards your store. I mean, it kind of indicates you had 400 items that were actually probably selling fairly well. And it sounds like in this person's question, they might be trying to restock those items. And I mean, that's an indication that you're doing great. So we're not gonna penalize you for that in any way.
You do want to restock within a couple of weeks, or you might end up losing some momentum on that listing. If it had a lot of momentum before, right? In some cases, if you have some listings that have had no momentum and very little views, and it's been 6 months to a year, you might want to go back and refresh that. Maybe you do a new one and give it a little new boost.
Yeah. So John asks, what are the best ways to use an uploaded video with a home category listing? So that's a great question. In my opinion, the best thing to do is take that video. Well, first of all, I mean, you want to get the highest quality video you can, right? So this is a big thing. I mean, imagine, you're in competition when you're listing something on eBay and furniture with a furniture store, for example. I mean, when someone walks into a furniture store, they get to touch it, they get to see it, they get to feel it, they get to kind of imagine what it might look like in their home. So video would be important. And I think you want to capture all of those details. So texture, you want to capture the best color. So you're going to have a good lighting setup. You might want a good background, right? So you might want the person to at least be able to envision, what that might look like in their home. I think those are all important things. I would use that as the second image, not the first. If that's an option for you, I believe it is. The first image should actually be a photo of the thing, so it actually appears better in search results. But I think that's probably the way I would start. I would just, studio quality is kind of what I would try to say. It's hard. You're actually looking at my photo studio right behind me for eBay. And so I understand it's tough to get the lighting right, to get the surroundings right. But I think, I think the best way I could say it is lifestyle imagery is kind of what we see as trending in the home interior business, just everywhere. So if you can kind of get the person to imagine what it might look like in their home, I think you're off to a good start.
Yeah, I use my great brown carpet below me, and every once in a while I might have my son hold up something. So, sometimes it's just, I'm not a big shop. I, maybe one or two things a month. It's been a couple of months, but it does vary around that. And depending on what you're selling, if you're selling that is something used, you definitely want to look through and make sure that if there's any scratches or marks, that is clearly called out. Add some photos of that. You want to make sure you meet that customer expectation, and then use those right categories as well, right? That's really important. Depends by categories of some of those that you can use, right? Because there's some cases there's going to be used, excellent, used very good, used obviously new, and new other, which usually represents that it's new, but maybe the box has been opened. So definitely take a look at those categories and make sure that you have the right product in the right categories.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just going to answer this last one really quickly. Matthew asks or comments, I wish you guys would push rate tables more. And it's really interesting that you asked that question, because if you're not familiar with rate tables, it's a way that you can set up different time frames and different shipping options for different parts of the country. So in other words, if you're shipping somewhere very far away, you can have a different handling time, for example, than something that's close by, and a few other options. You can find these in your shipping options if you go into them on your eBay account. We are actually right now developing some ideas around this where we can actually show a more accurate shipping time. It's somewhat complicated, and I'll be honest, rate tables aren't for everyone, but we are working on some ways, and you'll probably hear more in the next year about ways that we can help you set up rate tables and use them a little bit more. So I'm actually really glad you brought that up. It's a big deal in furniture, for example, on eBay. Rate tables are super important because a lot of things need to be shipped via freight. So that's about it, you guys. We're gonna have to wrap up. It's 1:30 Pacific. Really appreciate you being here. Happy to have been able to answer some questions for you guys and share some of the things that are going on in our categories. Anything to conclude, Paul?
No, that was it. Thanks for the time as well. And Todd, helped moderating. I didn't see all the chats that came up. I think you were looking through a couple other areas. So, and we'll be still live on chat. Keep an eye on things there. So if you need to ping us or have some questions in our categories, feel free to do it in the other chat, and we'll be available to answer.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.